Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope we're doing great today. Happy Saturday. Got a big college football slate today, so be sure to like and subscribe. Check out all my betting links in the description below to get in on the action. Go ahead, turn on those notification bells. And yeah, we'll hop in it here. Big Saturday, a lot of good matchups on the board today. Starting with the Arkansas Razorbacks versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Bama opening up as a 19.5 point home favorite with the over-under at 46. Arkansas coming into this matchup 2-4. Bama 5-1. Head-to-head, Bama's 10-0. They've been absolutely dominant against Arkansas. 5-5 covering the spread. I'm not seeing any major injuries here for this matchup. Arkansas coming off a 27-20 loss against Ole Miss. Bama coming off a 26-20 win against Texas A&M on a 4-game winning streak. Playing very good right now. Arkansas 0-9 on the road against Bama. It's just tough here, and they just can't beat Bama. Rightfully so. Bama 19-1 at home. 5-2 covering in their last 7. It is a lot of points. Arkansas just hasn't looked good here. And man, they usually get beat down pretty bad against Bama pretty much every year. And so, yeah, like, let's see. Yeah, I mean, they've lost I'm looking at the last 3 games here, a combined average score of 47-21. Going to be tough for Arkansas, and I'll take Bama minus 19.5 and throw them in your money line parlays at home. Next matchup, we got Georgia versus Vanderbilt. Georgia opening up as a 33-point road favorite with the over-under at 55. Georgia coming into this matchup 6-0. Vanderbilt 2-5. Head-to-head, Georgia is 8-2. 6-4 covering the spread. Going over some numbers here, which I should probably go over more, but for offense here, you're looking at Georgia 325 passing yards a game, 148 rushing yards a game. Vanderbilt only 263 yards passing and 97 rushing yards a game. Don't see any major injuries for this matchup. Vanderbilt, Ken Seals is going to be their quarterback. Georgia coming off a big win against Kentucky, 51-13. Vanderbilt, they're on a 5-game losing streak, coming off a big Florida loss. Going to be tough against Georgia. Georgia 5-0 covering against Vanderbilt. 12-0 on the road. 13-1 on the road against Vanderbilt here. And yeah, Georgia should be able to beat up on them. Throw them in a teaser. Get this spread in the 20s. That would be a sweet spot. But we'll take a shot with Georgia minus 33 on the road. Next matchup, we got Indiana versus Michigan. Michigan opening up as a 33-point home favorite with the over-under at 46. Indiana coming into this matchup 2-3. Michigan 6-0. Offensive-wise, Michigan throwing for 223 yards a game, rushing for 184. Indy throwing for 213 and rushing for 110. Head-to-head, Michigan is 9-1. 4-5-1 covering the spread. The overs hit in 4 out of the last 10 meetings between the two. Indiana coming off a 44-17 loss against Maryland. Michigan coming off a 52-10 win against Minnesota. Big win for them. 3 games in a row they've covered the spread. They if depending on what you got the line at, they pushed against Rutgers, but yeah, the first half of the season, or the first 3 games, they were not able to cover. But yeah, gonna be tough. Michigan just playing so good. Indiana 1-19 against Michigan, 0-10 on the road against Michigan here, and gonna have to roll with Michigan minus 33 and throw them in a teaser as well at home. Next matchup, we got Ohio State versus Purdue. Ohio State opening up as a 17.5 point road favorite with the over-under at 53. Ohio State coming into this matchup 5-0. Purdue 2-4. Offensive-wise, Ohio State throwing for 293 a game and rushing for 149. Purdue throwing for 235 and rushing for 150. Head-to-head, Ohio State is 6-4. The over's hit in 4 out of the last 10 matchups. Ohio State going to be missing their, one of their star receivers, Emeka Egbuka, but they'll still be fine. Ohio State coming off a big Maryland win. Purdue coming off a tough Iowa loss. Ohio State 12-5 against Purdue. 6-0 on the road right now, so they are playing good on the road. And, I'm liking the spread. I think it's kind of a cheaper spread here, and the way Ohio State's looked, and I'm going to take Ohio State minus 17.5. Throw them in your money line parlays on the road. Next matchup, we got Syracuse versus Florida State. Florida State opening up as a 19-point home favorite with the over-under at 53. Syracuse coming into this matchup 4-2. Florida State 5-0. Offensive-wise, Syracuse throwing for 259, rushing for 190. FSU throwing for 273 and rushing for 147. Head-to-head, FSU's 9-1, 6-4 covering the spread. The over's hit in 6 out of the last 10 meetings. Syracuse on a 2-game losing streak, coming off a 40-7 loss against a good UNC team. Then FSU, what an amazing start they're having, coming off a big Virginia Tech win, 39-17. They're 0-6 on the road against FSU, 1-10 straight up against FSU here, and I'm gonna roll a Florida State minus 19 and throw them in your money line parlays at home. Next matchup, we got California versus Utah. Utah opening up as an 11-point home favorite with the over-under at 43.5. Cal coming into this matchup 3-3. Utah 4-1. Cal throwing for 204 yards a game, rushing for 217. Utah throwing for 136 and rushing for 143. Pretty low numbers, but they're really getting the wins with their defense and how good their defense has been. Cal coming off a Oregon State loss. This Cal team can put up some points here. They can score. Utah coming off a 21-7 loss against Oregon State. It's been a low-scoring Utah team here. They've most definitely struggled here. And Cal looks like they got a new quarterback starting. Cam Rising still questionable. Who knows if he's really going to play? We really have no idea. But I think this has got to be a game for Utah to win at home with their defense. And 17-0 at home. I mean, Utah really gets it done at home here. And I'm going to take Utah minus 11 and money line at home. Next matchup, we got Kansas versus Oklahoma State. Kansas opening up as a 3-point road favorite with the over-under at 54. Kansas coming into this matchup 5-1. Oklahoma State 3-2. Offensively, Kansas throwing for 215 yards a game, rushing for 199. Oklahoma State throwing for 211 and rushing for 132. Head-to-head, Oklahoma State is 9-1, 8-2 covering the spread. The over's hit in 6 out of the last 10 meetings. Kansas, no Jalen Daniels, who's out. So they will be missing their star quarterback here. Kansas, though, coming off a big UCF win, 51-22. Oklahoma State coming off a big win as well against Kansas State, 29-21 here. Yeah, you're going to look at the numbers. It's all going to be in favor of Oklahoma State, who's been very dominant against Kansas. But this is a different Kansas team and a different Oklahoma State team. Oklahoma State, not the Oklahoma State team we've seen the last few years here. It is a very good Kansas team that can put up a lot of points. I'm going to buy a half a point, and I'm going to take Kansas minus 2.5 and money line on the road. Next matchup, we got Massachusetts versus Penn State. Penn State opening up as a 40.5-point home favorite with the over-under at 55. UMASS coming into this matchup 1-6. Penn State 5-0. Head-to-head, these teams have only played each other one time. Penn State winning that game 48-7. UMass throwing for 231 yards a game, rushing for 138. Penn State throwing for 232 and rushing for 194. UMass, they're on a 6-game losing streak right now. It's been very rough for them. Not going to get any easier up against an undefeated Penn State squad coming off a big Northwestern win. UMass 1-19 on the road. Yeah. Going to take Penn State minus 40.5 here. Throw them in a teaser. Get them in the low 30s and high 20s. Should be a nice, easy cover. And I will take Penn State at home. All right, next matchup. We got a big matchup here. We got Oregon versus Washington. Washington opening up as a 3-point home favorite with the over-under at 66. Both teams coming into this matchup 5-0. Oregon throwing for 331 yards a game, rushing for 223. Washington throwing for 444 yards a game, which is the highest I've seen in the league so far, and rushing for 123. Head-to-head, Oregon 7-3. 7-3 covering the spread. The over is hit in 4 out of the last 10 meetings. Oregon coming off a big Stanford win, 42-6. Washington coming off a 31-24 win against Arizona. Washington beat Oregon last year, 37-34. I mean, it's going to be a very fun matchup here. Oregon 5-0 covering the spread right now. They're 15-3 against Washington. 7-1 covering on the road against Washington here. Man, I just think we're really going to get a battle. This is a very tough one because I could really lean either way. Washington playing elite. You're getting two of the best quarterbacks in the country. Elite offenses, so probably going to be a lot of points here. I'm going to lean with the home team. I like Washington in this matchup. This is Washington's year. I mean, Oregon's in this spot, I'd say almost every year. I mean, Oregon's good every year. Washington is not this good every year. This is their chance to really make a statement. If they can beat Oregon at home, they'll prove they're the real deal. Michael Penix will deserve to be a Heisman favorite. I'm going to buy a half a point. I'm going to take Washington minus 2.5 and money line at home in a thriller. Next matchup, we got Texas A&M versus Tennessee. Tennessee opening up as a 3-point home favorite with the over-under at 54.5. Texas A&M coming into this matchup 4-2. Tennessee 4-1. A&M throwing for 273 yards a game, rushing for 160. Tennessee throwing for 227 and rushing for 231 a game. Head-to-head, A&M's 2-1 in their last 3 meetings. A&M coming off a Bama loss 26-20. Tennessee coming off a South Carolina win 41-20. A&M 0-7 on the road. They are not a good road team. 0-5 in October here. Tennessee 12-0 at home. Very good home team. Playing well. And you're getting A&M coming off a tough Bama loss. Usually when you're coming off a Bama loss, you're all banged up here. I think it's a great spot for Tennessee at home. Gonna buy a half a point. Give me Tennessee minus 2.5 and money line at home. Next matchup, we got Louisville versus Pittsburgh. Louisville opening up as a 7-point road favorite with the over-under at 45. Louisville coming into this matchup 6-0. Pittsburgh 1-4. Louisville throwing for 287 yards a game and rushing for 193. Pitt throwing for 166 and rushing for 115. Head-to-head, Pitt 6-4. 6-3-1 covering the spread. The over is hit in 3 out of the last 10 meetings here. And all I got to say is, what a performance. From Louisville, coming off an insane 13-point win against Notre Dame. Louisville definitely on the map, rightfully so, undefeated. And, the way they played against Notre Dame, their defense and offense just looks great. Pitt on a 4-game losing streak here. Louisville kind of just came out of nowhere here, but man, are they playing great. Have a great matchup here. I know the stats are going to be in favor of Pitt, but let's be real. Louisville has not been this good in a long time. And they really haven't been this good since Lamar Jackson. And I'm going to buy a half a point. Give me Louisville minus 6.5 and money line on the road. Next matchup, we got Arizona versus Washington State. Washington State opening up as a 7.5-point home favorite with the over-under at 57.5. Arizona coming into this matchup 3-3. Washington State 4-1. Arizona throwing for 269 yards a game, rushing for 163. Washington State throwing for 349 and rushing for 105 a game. Head-to-head, Washington State 6-4, 7-3 covering the spread. The over is hit in 6 out of the last 10 meetings. Arizona, their quarterback, Jaden DeLora, is questionable, so be sure to check his status here. Arizona coming off a tough USC loss in overtime. I mean, they've had a brutal 2 games coming off a USC and Washington loss. They've been in very close matchups here. They've been 20-point favorites in the last 2 games, and they've put up fights covering both of those. I think that's why we're getting a lower spread here, because they've been able to cover. But they are just 3-16 on the road. Not a good road team here. Good spot for Washington State. Coming off just a disappointing loss against UCLA. I couldn't get the offense really going. I think it's a bounce back spot for Washington State. I'm going to buy a point. Give me Washington State minus 6.5 and money line at home. Next matchup, we got Auburn versus LSU. LSU opening up as an 11.5 point home favorite with the over-under at 60. Auburn coming into this matchup 3-2. LSU 4-2. Auburn throwing for 143 and rushing for 202 a game. LSU throwing for 340 and rushing for 198 a game. Head-to-head, LSU 6-4, 3-7 covering the spread. The over's hit in 3 out of the last 10 meetings. Auburn coming off a very close Georgia loss, 27-20. They're on a 2-game losing streak. LSU coming off a 10-point Missouri win here. Nice win for them, coming off that, that Ole Miss loss the week before. Auburn 1-10 on the road against LSU. They cannot win in LSU here. I think it's going to be tough. I like LSU. Give me LSU minus 11.5 and money line at home. Next matchup, we got Miami versus North Carolina. North Carolina opening up as a 2.5 point home favorite with the over-under at 57. Miami coming into this matchup 4-1. UNC 5-0. Miami throwing for 291 and rushing for 222 a game. UNC throwing for 284 and rushing for 167. Head-to-head, UNC 6-4, 7-3 covering the spread. The overs hit in 5 out of the last 10 meetings. And Miami coming off the worst loss in sports history. If anyone saw the Miami game, that was a game they literally didn't kneel it and they fumbled and Georgia Tech wins. It was unbelievable. It was one of my last legs of a huge parlay I had too. So very disappointed in what I saw in Miami. And UNC, they've just been a moneymaker all year. I've had UNC every week in my parlays. They've been cashing. This will definitely be a bigger test, but Miami really dropped the ball against the Georgia Tech team. And, Drake May playing good. They're coming off 40-point games here. They're playing very good. And I just don't trust Miami with what I saw in that last game. I don't know where their head's at mentally losing that game. Give me UNC minus 2.5 and money line at home. Next matchup, we got Missouri versus Kentucky. Kentucky opening up as a 2.5 point home favorite with the over-under at 50.5. Both teams coming into this matchup 5-1. Missouri throwing for 293 yards and rushing for 147 a game. Kentucky passing for 220 and rushing for 171. Head-to-head, Kentucky 7-3, 6-4 covering the spread. The overs hit in 3 out of the last 10 meetings. Missouri coming off a tough LSU loss, 49-39 in a shootout. Kentucky coming off a horrible Georgia loss, 51-13. It's going to be a battle here. Not very often you see Kentucky and Missouri 5-1 coming into the halfway point of the season here. I'm liking Missouri plus the points on the road. You're getting Kentucky getting beat up from just a tough Georgia game last week here. A vulnerable spot for them here. I'm going to buy a point. Give me Missouri plus 3.5 on the road. Next matchup, we got USC versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame opening up as a 2.5 point home favorite with the over-under at 60.5. USC coming into this matchup 6-0. Notre Dame 5-2. USC throwing for 341 yards and rushing for 168 a game. Notre Dame throwing for 254 and rushing for 171. Head-to-head Notre Dame 7-3, 5-5 covering the spread. The overs hit in 4 out of the last 10 meetings here. USC coming off a double overtime thriller against Arizona, 43-41. Notre Dame coming off just a horrible Louisville loss. Sam Hartman did not look good. Threw a bunch of picks. They just did not look horrible. But gotta give Louisville credit. They're actually surprisingly very good this season. They were the much better team. And this is going to be USC's big test here. If they want to make it to the playoffs, they gotta get a good win here against Notre Dame on the road, which will be their toughest game of the season so far. And I'm buying a point. I like USC plus the points here on the road. I think the Heisman quarterback is going to be the better player in this matchup. Give me USC plus 3.5 on the road. Next matchup, we got NC State versus Duke. Duke opening up as a 3-point home favorite with the over-under at 43.5. NC State coming into this matchup 4-2. Duke 4-1. NC State throwing for 185 and rushing for 151 a game. Duke throwing for 201 and rushing for 198 a game. Head-to-head, NC State 8-2, 4-6 covering the spread. The overs hit in 2 out of the last 6 meetings. NC State coming off a Marshall win. Duke coming off a very tough and hard-fought Notre Dame loss. They are coming off a bye though, so they had plenty of rest here after that tough game. And it says Riley Leonard's still questionable. Remember, he did get hurt in that Notre Dame game. Hopefully he's good. He's had time to rest here. But Duke, what a great start for Duke this season. They're 6-1 in their last 7, 7-2 covering the spread, 5-1 at home. Still got to find out the info on Riley Leonard. I really hope he's good to go. But if Riley Leonard doesn't play, I still like Duke here. This Duke defense has been very good. And I'm going to buy 0.5 point. I'm still going to take Duke minus 2.5 and money line at home. Then the last matchup, we got UCLA versus Oregon State. Oregon State opening up as a 3.5 point home favorite with the over-under at 54. UCLA coming into this matchup 4-1. Oregon State 5-1. UCLA throwing for 235 and rushing for 200 a game. Oregon State throwing for 236 and rushing for 205 a game. Head-to-head, UCLA 6-4, 7-3 covering the spread. The overs hit in 3 out of the last 10 matchups. UCLA coming off a nice Washington State win. Oregon State on a 2-game winning streak, coming off a Cal win. UCLA 6-0 covering on the road against Oregon State. They've been good against Oregon State here. Oregon State very tough at home, 7-0 at home. Going to be another battle here. I'm really liking Oregon State here. This is a tough one here, but I like the home team. I think they get it done here. I'm going to buy a point. I'm going to take Oregon State minus 2.5 and money line at home. That's going to be it for the video. Good luck with your picks and parlays on Saturday. Hope you guys all cash out, and I'll see you guys Sunday. Have a good one.